Well, everyone, we are back in the shop. Shortly after filming that last video, Dad and I sat down. They switched operators again and they went around the driveway. Probably 30 minutes into use, we heard a clunk. And the same thing happened. So it's not a heavyweight part at all. It's so lightweight. I mean, my toothbrush weighs more than what this weighed. He says it's called pot metal, and you can see it's real coarse. What do you know about pot metal?
I don't know what that is about. Just this part that we're using to replace it weighs more than that whole thing is,
So he said to me this morning, we're just gonna make it ourselves, Mom. And I said, how? He said, I don't know, we're just gonna make it ourselves. Well, that kind of leaves me out of it. I'm no engineer. But we went to Menards, and he needed a set screw. He's working on this, while Trey has him working on the mower. So you can see we've already been grinding on this, but it's, what did they even call this? It was a 1/2 inch.
Maybe a locking collar.
Okay. He said maybe a locking collar, but essentially a bushing with a threaded spot for a set screw. So I took out the set screw at the store, tried a 1/4 inch rod in it, and basically what he's doing on the grinder is making it the shape that we want. We'll cut this to the length that we need and put the other one on the other end. Now, because it's threaded, it would come undone, so he has to spot weld that or tack weld it. But he's wondering, I think it said that this is a cast brass, but this bearing right here does look a little bit chewed up, and he said there is play in it. Now, it's very little play, but that does look pretty rough. So I'm going on some websites and trying to find out about this to see about this bearing. Because if it's enough play to make that break within a 1/2 hour of installing it, it's gonna happen again. So we have to find the cause of why it's happening. Now this crankcase and everything, they shut it right down. No trouble to any other parts, but our $1 repair, because of possibly this bearing, blew out again. Well, we can't find another one for $1. The Power Bar doesn't have more. And I found some old stock. It's, you know, discontinued part, $20 to $30. Getting it in a week. We got 4 days of no rain, don't we? Yep. And this guy is just all over the mowing. So while we were looking at the parts, I found that and thought we could try this. Homemade engine parts. Because this guy can do it. I couldn't do it on my own, but I came up with the idea.
Yeah.
So he's just checking it for fitment.
Don't go fast doing them.
And this is where I'll show you once he's got it on, where he's talking about there being play. It's very slight.
There's a bearing in here in the counterweight that you can replace.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is your eccentric on the crankshaft right here that makes this wobble up and down to counter react the weight of the piston going up and down. I don't think it's a very good design, but I think if this is too worn, it could have been causing some shock. And I think they call this pot metal. This is lighter than plastic. It's just like air. So it wouldn't take much more strength to hold that.
So my little rod and collar deal is quite a bit stronger overall.
Yeah.
In total, it was about $5.80 for the parts that we picked up.
This might be enough.
And the good thing is, Menards has more. So, if he chooses to run it without replacing the bearing, and it happens again, we know that for our time and $6, we can do it again. Sometimes, when you just keep redoing things over and over, you just get better and better at it, right?
Yep.
Well, a 12-year-old boy who was 11 2 days ago pulled this motor out in like 10 minutes.
Today it was like 10 minutes.
Yep.
That is a good life skill to have.
Yep.
We noticed at the lawnmower shop that we went to, there was probably 3 weeks of work lined up on the outside of the building. So that doesn't even show you what's already in their shop for handheld equipment waiting to be worked on.
Well, it's in there and these are together.
Yeah. It's fitting.
Yep.
Good.
It even spins on the pin. So we
But
just,
with it bolted in, you can't see if there's any slop really, right?
it doesn't feel like much. There's a little, but there has to be some just to give it room for oil.
Yeah.
These little tiny engines are not close tolerances like a car.
I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't look like anything to me. Fractional. Okay.
So that's in. Now we have to determine I'm going to take this back apart. We'll
Length.
determine a kind of a length. Because all that's doing is keeping this from hitting the... That's what you hear when that breaks and you can hear this. All it's doing is going like that.
Oh, that's the knocking noise.
That's the knocking sound.
Okay.
So they said on the internet, lots of people think they have a bad rod because they start knocking and they think it's junk and they'll replace the motor, and all it is that this has broke because it happens to people all the time. So a lot of these motors got thrown away, and all it was that little piece.
And him and I both were messaging people on Facebook, you know, about engines, broken down tractors and parts, engines. And of course, it's a holiday weekend, so nobody's around. So he did a lot of this work the first time around before I got outside for the day doing inside chores. So I wanted to show you. He had me pick him up a can of brake and parts cleaner. Used up.
Now we're going to use air. Okay, take that away.
So he cleaned everything out, dumped the oil. If you can see all that silver, that is little bits of metal from the explosion of the part. So I held this under the engine while he dumped out any leftover residual oil from the bottom, sprayed all that out, and I think that's called the sump part.
Yeah.
So now he's used air to clean it all out.
These are Permatex.
Yeah, he used Permatex for a gasket because apparently there was no gasket before, and this gasket was not available.
Nope. I think they've given up on this
They may have.
something. I don't know.
Well, I said to him last night or this morning when we had the same thing happen again, I wonder if the guy we bought it from replaced that dog bone link, and it blew apart. So then he just gave up on it. And
Well, he said it needed an engine,
yeah.
but he didn't know. I don't know.
So he could see on the side of the engine where the oil had leaked out. So they may have tried to do the repair and had the same thing happen and just gave up. And maybe that's why it was sitting. Maybe the old guy didn't tell the kids, or maybe the guy just wanted to pawn it off on this guy. So this guy's going to get it going with the help of the big guy. All right, these guys have been back at it.
Okay.
Everything's cleaned and put back together.
Unplug the charger.
And they've been reinstalling everything. So we got some fresh gas. Got to make sure you start off with that. You know, we use wet gas in a lot of things. It's always just highly advisable. Maybe in a machine this size, it's not as important. But in our string trimmer, our two-cycle things, it really... Oh, two-stroke. Thank you. He knows more than I do. 12. Little smarty pants. See that? Give him a wrench and teach him. What you wrenching on there, guy?
A plate that holds the pulleys in place.
Okay. Looks good, nice and clean. Good job. Jack cleaned it?
Mm-hmm.
You're good at cleaning parts.
Yep.
Good thing we had lots of extra oil on hand, huh?
Oh, yeah. Essential.
This is 1, 2 times apart.
Yep. Fluid, but we'll try it.
This guy's always surprised.
Oh, I think it ran out of gas.
His big brother is happy for him. The first time they did this, they got oil all over everything. They were having a hard time because basically it wasn't getting sparked because it was so oily. And when they did get it going, it took a while to all burn off. You don't touch it. You break everything. He doesn't have an ear for listening when something's wrong. He's usually talking. So he's driving along, towing his brother and sister around. And boom. It was so disappointing. It was on his birthday night. He got that all going and it was just going great. You know, just wonderful. So by the time the last video went up, we had already finished filming for that day, was editing it to go up when this happened the second time. So we'll see if the homemade part will go. I don't know about that. It sounded perfect before, and then all of a sudden just boom, and then you heard that knock, knock, knock. And that's what he was saying, is that it was that counterweight was hitting the circle part that was still left underneath the counterweight.
That is so quiet. It's not making any funny noise.
Well, no funny noises is good. So this is the next project. He's been kind of working on it, starting some things here. We'll show you some little videos on that as that goes along. It's time to start cutting hay, and cutting lawn grass doesn't pay anything. We got to be able to cut the hay, but he wanted to get that guy going because he was just chomping at the bit to get working. So this area here was mowed this last week, and then we've got a bunch of days of rain, and this section here was gonna get mowed, and we weren't able to get into it. So he's starting right out trying to do some mowing. I'm gonna hand push this area out that I worked on, that brush hog, because I don't want the grass growing up and looking badly around it. We moved the cultimulture out of the way because it was parked here too. So he hasn't been able to mow since maybe Wednesday night. They started right out sharpening the blades and doing things like that they needed to. He's a little close to the edge. We were talking about moving the field. The hay's growing into the lawn anyway in several parts of the yard from all of it reseeding, and it's taking off quite well. Oh, look at that. What a shot. I make the kids up these things for their Christmas or birthdays with like a collage of different pictures, and you can have them printed at a Photoshop place. Our local Meijer does it, and you just can do it online or do it there at their store. And I did one for him several years ago, and I put his name on it and put Farmer of the Year with all these different shots I'd collected throughout the year of him doing different farm chores. And it was just a nice thing to have for him. It made him smile. He liked it. Doing all right.
When he mows it twice, it'll be all right. It's just
well, it's so tall, it's out of hand.
And it's a little damp. Yeah. Because it doesn't get dry. But
yeah.
He'll just mow and mow and mow.
You gonna tell him not to get stuck in the ditch?
He won't go around there.
Well, Jack, you can do the ditch. It needs it. Well, this guy is bound to determine that one way or another he is going to mow. So this is the driveway here. He got to about right here and we heard a bang on his first pass through with that mower. And it happened again. So the homemade part snapped, and unfortunately, with lots of investigation, we found out that it went through the block this time. Oil started spewing everywhere, and the kid was just so bummed. I just had to hug him and love him. All he wanted for his 12th birthday was a riding lawnmower, and we thought we'd be able to fix this and get it going. This mower that he's mowing with right now, he got for free on the side of the road. He figured it would be a piece of junk. The self-held belt on it slips, and so the people just put it out by the road for free. He thought he would fix it, and he can push it, and he's done fine with it. He's really learning a lot about the small engine repair and stuff. So, you just learn more with time and experience. But we are now on Memorial Weekend. It's Sunday. I spent the whole day trying to find him a replacement motor, trying to figure out a way to make a push mower or anything else fit with the Husky lawnmower. I was going to donate to him my Husky push mower motor, but obviously it's not enough horsepower and smaller. So we're waiting for things to open back up on Tuesday. If you are local in Michigan at all, let me know if you have an engine that he can work on, because now his block is busted, and it was I found out a poor design. Apparently Briggs Stratton had an issue that was so bad that it about bankrupted them, probably under warranties, I guess. So after learning a little bit about that, we decided we could do a newer Briggs Stratton engine. We have Kohler engines in some of these push mowers, and they both are equally good. I'm not sure if the fitment would be the same on a Kohler engine and the wiring harness, so I figured it would be best to stick to a Briggs & Stratton. We are looking at a brand new engine for a possibility, and it's anywhere from $600 to like $750. So a new riding mower for a cheap Craftsman is $1,800 at Lowe's, and that's a lot to chew off. We didn't want to get into that, so the $100 mower is turning into a very expensive mower. We had the new battery on it and the new rear tires, which I didn't have to pay for, but had we done that, we'd be up to about $200 at this point. So, you know, spending $600 to $750 on an engine, he's so bummed, and you know, he was hoping it was going to be just all something he would be able to do. So Mom and Dad stepped in. We did all the front mowing with the 3 push mowers all day today, in between looking up about engine parts, trying to do what we can. Of course, everyone's gone, and any of these small engine mechanics are away, so hopefully we'll get some responses back on Tuesday about that. So those Ford $600 used riding lawnmowers are looking a little more appealing. I found a Cub Cadet locally for $400 and messaged them about it right away on Facebook. And so then I messaged them right away on Facebook and then got back to their message this morning, and it was sold. So super bummer there. But in the meantime, do a GoFundMe for him. Send the little PayPal link up at the top, and you guys could all pool together $10 at a time and buy him a massive, awesome engine, because the cheap base rate model was, you know, like $761 from most places. So ouch. That's a lot of money for him. That's his life savings, and I'm so bummed for him for that. You know, we want to help him and do as much for him as we can. So go on Etsy, shop, buy anything you can, and I'll give him all the proceeds from, you know, any super chat type monies or any PayPal link monies to put towards his engine repair. So he's a worthy kid of it for sure. So that's it for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. We're going to get back into this another day.